right, so I've started recording. So I am now going to share my screen.
Yeah. And then I'll just let you write notes and I'll just. I thought this would be good because I know how you are. Yeah. And
Move stuff around here. So okay. So you should be able to see my screen. I'm just going to go over the course page again after the results of the survey, and thanks for participating in that. It's really helpful for me, especially with a large class size, just to see where everyone is coming from. And so one of the suggestions that I had after the survey was just making the course page, opening up the calendar so that you could really see when the assignments are. And I've tried to make it pretty user-friendly, and it's in sequential order. So if you just start with the first module, you click on start, pretty much just go down the line for the assignments are in order. And then I write in the due date in that line too, so you can see when things are due. But just another way that you can approach it is if you see the side panel. And do you all look at the course page on a desktop, or do you look on a mobile phone or
desktop? Desktop.
Most of you.
Yeah, I tend to use a desktop.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it too. So if you use this sidebar, it's got upcoming events posted, so upcoming assignments are linked here, and you can click on it and go directly there. I've also added this go to calendar, so if you go to and click on the calendar, it should have all the upcoming assignments and when it's due. Now these discussion forums, unfortunately, doesn't link directly, but I've added them just so you can see what the due date is. So typically they're going to be on Tuesdays at 11:55, so pretty much at midnight. But then you know that, hey, discussion 2 is due tonight, homework 1 is due tonight, quiz 1 is coming up, and that one has a submission form, so you could go directly to that activity and it'll take you to the submission area and you can submit your quiz there. So that's just another way you can look at the schedule and the calendar on the course page. Any questions about that? All right, and y'all are welcome to, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and jump in at any time. So then the next thing is, and I know the quiz is still a little bit, well, let me backtrack a little bit since the discussion and homework are due tonight. I think most of you have done that. But just so you know, there's a few assignments where it's kind of like 2 for 1. So this one, homework 1 and discussion 2, you submit them in the same place. So the homework 1, if I click on that, it just shows me what the assignment is. Oops, I don't want to delete that. Didn't mean to do that. But it's actually in the discussion form where you submit it. So that's just having me edit it. I'm going to go directly here to module 2, discussion 2. So you post your homework assignment here, and that's worth 5 points. And then your comment is worth 2 points. So it's a total of 7 points. So when I look at this, I'm going to go in and rate if you answered the questions or made a comment and posted correctly, I'll give you 5 points. Then I'm going to go back and look and make sure you responded to somebody else. And then you'll get 2 points for what you post on that. And I may have my TA, Laura, go through and grade some of these for me. So just be aware that she has full access to all the assignments and grading power too. And so for those of you who haven't met Laura, she could not be here tonight because she has another meeting, but she did send me a video. So let me pull it up here. So here's Laura.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura. If you need any help with any of your assignments, please come find me or shoot me an email. Thank you. Bye.
She kept it really short and sweet. So did y'all hear her? Okay. So when you go to the course page and you can click on, there's the email address, click on my weekly schedule and I'll update this every week and Laura's going to update it too. So she's going to be at Harper. She's actually going to be in room 127 on Fridays from about 11 to 2. And then I will be in my office from 10 to 11. So if you needed to come earlier at 10, I can always open that classroom up for you if you needed to work on stuff then. And then I could also help you during that time. So my office is right next to that classroom 127. So that's an open lab. It's optional, but we're there for you if you need us. Okay, so now back to the quiz. Has anyone done the quiz yet?
I have.
Okay, did you have any problems with?
No, I use the Adobe PDF thing.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the easiest way to do it. So if you're not familiar with that, what you'll want to do first is open up the application Adobe Acrobat. So just look for Adobe Acrobat DC, then open up the Adobe Acrobat app. Then you'll download that quiz. So when you're on the course page, you just go to the quiz in Module 2, just click on it, and then click on the PDF file to download it. Then it'll go to your downloads folder. Then I can open that file. So I can go to File, Open, go to my downloads folder, and then open that quiz. And then it'll look like this. And then if you click on this arrow to the right, you can go to Edit PDF and then add text at the top. And you can just drag a text frame and type in your answers in there.
Okay.
And then just resave it. So then you'll do a save as, and then you save it with your name, and then you can just submit that edited PDF. So if you don't want to do it this way, you can just download the file, read the questions, and then type in your answers on As You Learn. So you could do that too and just submit it in text form. So either way. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay, great. Then I think probably all of you have your textbook, but there were a few people who said that the textbook was sold out and they weren't able to get it. So I just want to kind of alleviate any anxieties about that. They are going to order more textbooks. However, you really don't need your textbook until Module 4. So as we're moving, we're still in Module 2. I gave you 2 weeks in Module 2 to give you a little more time to get set up and everything and get familiar with Photoshop. So this is your time, like if you're really not familiar with Photoshop, to get familiar. So you can go to the link on the quiz. I've got some suggestions for a site you can do some Photoshop tutorials. You can look for your own resources too. But so that's the time for you to start to learn that if you need additional help with that. And then do the animated GIF or GIF, whichever way you want to say it. Some people get mad at me for saying GIF, but that's how I say it. And then in Module 3, you can use Photoshop to create your site plan. You can use InDesign, because I know a lot of you are in my InDesign class. You can use InDesign or another program, as long as it's clear what your site setup is, how many pages are going to be in your website for your final project. So I'll talk about that more next week, but you're not even really getting into the web stuff yet at this point. We're just still getting our assets ready, getting our media files, and then planning our site before we're actually designing it in Dreamweaver. So when we get to Module 4, that's when you'll need your textbook. So for Homework 5, you'll need the graphics downloaded from the textbook to complete that assignment. And then for Homework 6, you will actually need to connect to the ASU web host or whichever web host you choose. And then what you submit is just your URL website address. So at that point, you don't need to submit any files for Homework 6. You'll just submit your URL. You'll upload your files to the server. And I'll go over how to do that. But just so you know, we're not really getting into Dreamweaver until Module 4. Just make sure you've got your textbook and you're ready to set up your web host in Module 4.
Okay.
Yeah, and then don't forget also to join the Google Plus community, and that's linked at the top of our page under helpful resources. If you just click on Google Plus, you should be able to join if you haven't already. Make sure that you're using your App State account when you join. And then if you have any problems joining, just let me know, send me an email, and I can send you a link. So here we've got Bob Ross, our Happy Clouds video that you can always go back and watch if you need a little happy cloud in your life. And then I posted some animated GIF examples. So that's the next homework assignment coming up. So if this is when you start thinking about, because you're required to have an animated GIF on your ePortfolio, which is your first final project site. So you can go back or go ahead and look at Module 9 and look at the assignment sheet for the ePortfolio to see what's required. One of the requirements is an animated GIF. So you can be thinking about, as you're creating your animation, how is this going to work for my ePortfolio? And then you can have the option to create an animation for your professional site too. So that's not a required element, but you can add that as well. And so here are just some quick examples. This website shows some animations for book covers, and it kind of creates this optical illusion effect. So that would be one kind of creative way you could use that. If you had some posters that you design, if you're a graphic designer or graphic communications field, or you designed a book cover, maybe you want to animate it, add some motion or animation to it, and that could be something you could display in your ePortfolio. So that's one way to approach it. Then this other example here is this logo redo, and you can see the animation here where they showed in the animation how they went from this crossbar logo to this new logo that they just rolled out. And there's been a lot of talk in the design field about this new logo. And so this GIF, this animated GIF has over 100 layers. It's like over 140 layers. I was just looking at that. So that's a very complicated animation. Yours doesn't have to be that complicated, but that's another way you could use an animated GIF, is to show a kind of a before and after, or a transition of how this logo evolved into this new logo. So that's another way you could use an animation. And then I've also posted, when you go to that homework assignment in Module 2, on the assignment sheet for animated GIF, I've linked a web page with some of my examples. So this one shows different typefaces from serif to sans serif. So these layers, each layer shows a different typeface. Another way to use it is a how-to process, like a step-by-step or a step-by-step process. So this is just step-by-step and how I colored in the letters in type. So sometimes an animated GIF would work well if you want to show a step-by-step process or how to make something. Also, it may be used even to evoke emotion, something that a still photo can't do. So this image is the first time like my son ever saw the Statue of Liberty on the boat ride on the way there. And so he just naturally kind of closed his eyes, and it was breezy. And so I snapped a photo, but then I wanted to animate it in a subtle way just to show his hair blowing the breeze, so that you kind of feel that emotion of the first time you're approaching the Statue of Liberty as if you were there on the boat with him. And then these other ones, just to show movement, really giving it some life or doing some kind of optical illusion or special effect. So those are just some things to think about, like intentionally thinking about how can I use an animation on my ePortfolio in a way that will enhance it, in a way that will promote what I'm trying to promote. So those are just things to think of, thinking ahead. So everything that we're doing, we're thinking ahead and how to tie it into the final project websites. So yeah, have any of you started on the animated GIF or completed that?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's a really fun project. I think you'll have a lot of fun with that one. And that one is also one like the file formats where you're gonna just post it in the discussion forum. I got lost. Another page. Okay, so that one in module 2, you will also submit it in the discussion forum. So that's discussion 3, and then you'll respond to somebody's post. Same thing, so you get 5 points for the homework and then 2 points for the discussion portion of it. Talked about my office hours and open lab, and then I'm going to offer some more Zoom meetings this week for those who couldn't make it to this meeting. And then I'm thinking it seemed like from the survey results that this was probably the best time for most people. So I may try to do this weekly at Tuesday evenings. And then it's also going to be a Q&A session too. So if you have any questions for me, you can present it at that time. Or if you need help with an assignment or something. So it'll be, I'll have the Zoom meeting and then also the open lab on Fridays where you can discuss or ask questions. I think that's most of what I wanted to go over. I know I'm probably forgetting something. Any questions for me?
No. No.
Okay, make sure I got everybody. All right, so does everyone, do you feel pretty good about the class right now? Like you've got a handle?
Yeah.
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 To be submitted and everything? All right, y'all are good students. Okay, well, that's pretty much all that I had to present. I know that went pretty quick, but you may have more questions, in the future once we get into Dreamweaver. So these sessions may take longer sometimes and may be really brief at other times. So if you don't have any questions for me, you're welcome to check out. And I'm just going to hang around for a little bit more in case anyone else joins in and has any questions. But you're welcome to go if you want to.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for
Have a great night.
joining. Thanks, you
Yeah.
too.
Have a good night.
You too.
Finally stop.
Yours was a good one.
How do you get out of here?